What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Redwood. Just outside of Redwood. My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
Have you ever noticed that so many children are disappearing from their own parents' suspicious care? Well, we do. We will be discussing some of these children in the future, but in the meantime, we have specifically chosen a little boy that needs justice more than ever. Please stay tuned. Welcome to the Up and Gone podcast. This story is about a 2-year-old boy named Deorr Kunz Jr. Deorr had been reported missing while on a family camping trip that was located in the mountains of Deorr, Idaho, July 10, 2015. Deorr's name and face has become an international focus, and many wish to see his case solved. Everyone has the same question: where is baby Deorr? Parents claim that they were on a camping trip when Deorr disappeared, but many are not so sure. His disappearance is surrounded by family lies and inconsistencies. Was this the perfect crime to distract authorities' attention away from the real crime scene, or did he really disappear at camp? With all that surrounds this case, it is clear that there is more to Deorr's story than just a simple camping trip.
Was it 2:26?
It was 2:36 when I called.
It was 2:36 is when she called, and I was in the truck hauling down to the road trying to get service because I didn't think one bar would get it. So she got very, very lucky. I was blessed that she was able to get service because I didn't want to try and risk getting halfway through my talking to the 911 and have it cut off. So I went down to where I knew I can get a little service about a half mile down the road. We searched after about 20 minutes and in a dead panic, not knowing where he was in such a small area and never being there, I knew I was in trouble.
I called my dad, told my dad what the fuck was going on. I tried to call my dad, but he didn't answer. That was it. So now I'm in a real panic because my dad was always the one if I needed something or I needed to calm down, I called my dad and he was the one to deal with that shit. He didn't answer, so now I'm really fucking panicked.
But this time he goes out of the campground, right?
Yes.
Okay, to make a phone call. Now, who does he call?
He said he was going to call 911.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he talked to his dad.
Okay.
Why did Bernal feel the need to hide the conversation with his dad? He starts out by saying that he talked to him, but quickly retracts that and says he tried instead. In an interview with Jessica and David Marshburn, Jessica reveals that after Bernal called 911, that he indeed did speak to his dad. Again, why would Bernal feel the need to hide the conversation with his dad? Did his dad know more about what happened to Deorr? We will never know, because since this case has happened, his dad has since passed and will never be questioned. Had he been questioned, it makes you wonder what would have been revealed. Maybe Deorr's case would have already been solved.
As far as I know, I thought baby Deorr was still behind us and I was showing Jessica. Like when I went to go show them the fishing hole, like I went down there and showed Jessica where the fishing hole is, and I assumed that, Deorr and his dad were right behind me.
What if there was an accident? What do you think? Do you think that's possible that an accident happened?
Yeah, it could have been an accident. Could be possible.
Do you know anything as far as Robert Walton, the grandfather? Have you heard how his health's doing? We heard it's not doing very well.
That's what I've heard. I heard he's on oxygen.
His grandson's missing. His great-grandson's missing. Mm-hmm. Did you and Isaac talk about the baby's disappearance? No? You didn't? No. What's done is done. What's done is done? That's your grandson.
Yeah, and he's been like that. I mean, he says things like that. I mean, we got home and, within like 2 or 3 days, he's like, so are we going to have a funeral?
Can you explain to me? And the reason I know this is because Jessica called me herself after she got out of her polygraph. Actually, I called her to check on her because Trina had texted me and said to. And I asked her how everything went, and you know what she told me? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to know why Jessica threw you under the bus, and Jessica said that you were with Deorr at your truck for 20 minutes while she was down in the creek fishing after you got back from the stage shop. I asked her.
That is wrong. That's wrong, for one, and I can tell you that. That's wrong, but for two, and I asked her the same thing. Not meanly, not coaching, nothing. I just said, what the Christ was that all about? And she said, and I quote, I was under a lot of pressure, and I don't know what the hell else I didn't know what else to do.
But I didn't. But that right there confuses me because I didn't pressure her. We were just having a conversation. I just asked if she was okay. I asked what happened because I wasn't even privy to any of that information at that point in time. And she told me the reason she never told me that before was because she's scared of you. So, is she lying? Did she just lie to me and tell me that you were with your son for 20 minutes while she was down in the creek fishing and that you could have done something?
That's what her, I and Isaac went down to this creek.
Well, that's been y'all's story from the get-go, but now all of a sudden she's changed it. So you got to understand where we're coming from now.
Yeah, I know, I understand. It's my word against, or it's her word against mine, but here's the problem. Since she comes back to everybody else, in both families, to everybody else except for law officials, and says that was wrong. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do, Jessica? Look what you did. But now you've got more time wasted with officials because you felt like you were cornered and had no other way out. That doesn't do our son any good.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to a man and a woman, single mom is the worst goddamn parent I've ever seen in my life. I can tell you why. Because let's play, for example, he's got a butter knife in his fucking hand, going to go stick it in the light socket. What are you going to do? You're going to scare the living fuck out of them, shock them, and they're going to go, oh, I'm not doing that again. That's why I say single moms are the shittiest fucking parents. So concerned.
I got by the time we finished eating, by the time I got it cooked and everybody was fed.
So that puts us at about 10 o'clock?
Yeah, about that. Get everything situated, everybody sitting by the fire, throws their plates in the fire. Jessica, my son, was over playing with Missy, who was hooked to the back of my truck, back on the back of my truck. And I remember I went over just to see what he was doing. He was in eyesight, but I like playing with him. I like, little games, things like that. And he has a big fetish with cramming his arm in the black exhaust pipe of my trucks always, and comes out with just a big arm full of exhaust. And I walked over just as I trying to catch him to not do it, and he did it, and he come out and his arm's solid black, and I went, son, he had the look on his face too. like his arm was just gone. And I said, it's not a big deal, started wiping the soot off his arm, and he ended up walking around the truck, was playing with the dog, and I had set some food out for her, just on the ground. And he was screwing with her, trying to keep her away from the food. And I remember he walked over to the driver's side front tire of my truck, from that Dodge. He would always walk over and play with lug nuts. Always. Mm-hmm. It's just what he does. Mm-hmm. And he gets to one, and I was missing one. And he looks at me and goes, Daddy. And I said, what, son? He goes, where'd it go? Mm-hmm. And I looked over and I thought, I'll be damned, I am missing a lug nut. Mm-hmm. And he says, where'd it go, Daddy? I said, I don't know, it is around here somewhere. And he's looking around, he looks over to Missy and he goes, woo, where'd it go? Thinking she took it. And it was just, it was funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on one second.
Say had.
SD card. Can I have what are yours?
Has, don't say had.
Pause? Yeah, let's pause.
Okay. Can't do that.
Yeah, I know social media can be a good thing, but it can also
that's
we just don't want anything twisted.
Yeah, we don't want to twist it. So clear up any rumors that you've seen or heard.
We need to talk about that. One thing that concerns me.
We want to get to that.
Deorr is gone. She sees her little son playing in the dirt with some toys.
Last time I saw him was the back of his head, walking towards my grandpa.
Not a trace of my son found. Vanished.
He doesn't go anywhere without his blanket, his cup, or his marquee. All three of them were left at the campground.
Where did he go?
Nobody had the baby.
you cannot see,
including that tree that's down.
including that tree that's down.
Although the private investigator on the case, Philip Klein, believes he has at least
Not an animal that took the child. Number two, there was no forced abduction. So that leaves us with one last possible theory, that the child could have died up on the mountain either accidentally or possibly with intent. We do not believe Deorr Kunz is alive.
This is a small town. We're dealing with a missing child who may have been killed, who something nefarious may have happened. Things like this don't happen here.
Shortly after Klein releases his findings, the sheriff at the time, Lynn Bowerman, makes a stunning move, naming Deorr Kunz's parents suspects.
The parents of missing toddler Deorr Kunz Jr. are now suspects in his disappearance. The Limelight County Sheriff says they are at the top of his list.
Basically, I was saying they were the top persons of interest, but, actually, yeah, I believe they're suspects.
It's a move not everyone working on the case agrees on.
I think suspect was a little strong. Consider them uncleared people of interest.
I felt it was necessary to come forward and say that the parents are being less than truthful. Things that should be important to them, important in their memory, have changed from who made the decision to do what, or, who cooked that morning, or who took a fishing pole down to the creek. Just minor changes like that, constantly changing.
The focus of the investigation is steering toward the parents.
I believe so.
What do you think happened?
I have no clue. Absolutely no clue.
But by summer 2016, nearly 1 year after Deorr Kunz disappeared, Sheriff Bowerman seems to have an idea. And his suspicions are starting to sound a lot like Philip Klein's.
I'm moving more and more towards it being a homicide, strictly because we've ruled out the abduction, we've ruled out wild animals. The fact that we have no credible witness at this time that can clearly state he was at the scene. Not only am I not believing he was ever there, but I'm believing that we have a homicide.
I did not kill my son. 100% I did not kill my son. I believe Deorr's father could have hurt him. 1 second, he was there. In a matter of 15 minutes, he's gone.
Despite the fact that you're not together, do you still believe in Bernal's innocence?
Yeah, I believe in both of our innocence because he was with me that whole time. The longest he was out of my sight was when he went up the embankment to go get our son. And that was maybe 5 minutes.
Didn't really want to go there. Middle of fucking nowhere. Basically, I was looking for any excuse to not be up there. I don't fish. I didn't want to fish. So I was looking for any excuse, like this truck won't make it anymore, I need to get it home kind of shit. I asked Bob and Isaac where they had been. They told me that because they mentioned going camping and they wanted me back there by a certain time, and I went, I'll fucking try. Look, I'm camping and I'm giving a fuck left on what time I get back there. I didn't do anything. I don't know anything. But I have to pay the price if I did.
Wait, did Vernal just say that Bob and Isaac wanted to go camping? I thought they were already camping. Did anybody else catch that?
Of interest was a mistake, you think?
I'm not going to accuse anybody. Just my own feelings. Because I just don't. Have you been up in that canyon? If you'd been up in that canyon, there's only one road in. If you've got 4 people sitting at a table in a campground, and 2 of them are 20 feet, 30 feet away in a creek, and one of them sitting right there at the fireplace, and the little boy is 20 feet away, if a car was to drive up in there, don't you think you'd turn around and look and see who's coming up the road? Yeah, I think so too.
Them naming your granddaughter, you think was a mistake?
What's that?
Them naming your granddaughter as an uncleared person of interest was a mistake, you think?
All 4 people are up there are unclear persons of interest. They still have not come up with anything to disapprove or approve them anyway, either way. So they're all, somebody knows something, and nobody's talking.
They are trying to cover their an animal came and got. I mean, come on, who believes that? There would have been a large amount of blood and carnage. Number 2, an abduction. We have never received a phone call for ransom. 0 that indicates there was a child that was kidnapped.
Bizarre case. Mysterious disappearance. Where is he?
My son was gone.
There's not so much as a sock, not a blood stain, not hair. I mean, nothing.
They fail not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 polygraph tests.
The parents are now considered suspects.
Did you murder your son?
Absolutely not.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Father's a liar. The mother's a liar.
We believe they know where Deorr is.
Please stay tuned to the Up and Gone podcast. We will be doing personal interviews on thoughts and those who have been affected on Deorr's case. If you would like to be interviewed, please reach us at upandgone@gmail.com. If you have any information about the disappearance of Deorr Kunz Jr., please call 1-800-THE-LOST. And don't forget to push the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. To learn more on this case, please go to justiceforbabydeorr.com.